Show. Amber Theoharis along with James Jones. And so the Raiders head on the road to take on the Denver Broncos, a team that has just 3 wins, a team that they beat earlier in the season back in Week 4, 32-23. So an opportunity to stop the bleeding and really getting back in the win column is the priority.
Absolutely, right? It's all about trying to get a W. I don't care if it's pretty. I don't care if it's ugly. I don't care what it may be. It's all about finding a way to get a W. And we all know division games, it is hard to sweep a division opponent. I don't care who you are. It's hard to sweep. So hopefully we've been preparing the right way and we're ready to go in this one.
Raiders have won the last 5 in a row. Will they make it 6? It's going to be very difficult because the Broncos defense, no matter what the record is, they are balling right now. They are the #1 scoring defense in the NFL. They're #1 in the red zone. They're #1 in yards per play, and they're second in yards per game. They've got playmakers on that side of the ball, and so those matchups are going to be tough, and I think it starts with them being able to stop the run better than they did Week 1, because Josh Jacobs had a field day week 1, 220-some yards total for the Raiders. The Broncos, you know, are going to tighten up. They don't give up a lot of points. They don't give up a lot of yards.
Absolutely. I'm telling you right now, they will not let Josh Jacobs beat them. They will stack the box and force 1-7 Davante Adams to beat them and Max to beat them and Derek Carr to beat them, but you cannot give up 200-plus yards on the ground and expect to win. So you better believe that they are saying, and watching this film from last time they played the Raiders, that we must stop 28 and we can't let this run game get going, because if it does, it's going to be a long day for this Broncos defense. So he will be the key person that they are trying to stop. Davante Adams, it's time to go. Derek Carr, it's time to go. Step up, because the box is going to be loaded.
If he has 144 yards again, I think it's going to be a good day for the Raiders. Look what the Raiders did in Week 4 versus what the rest of the league has done against this Broncos defense. Raiders put up 32 points. They're giving up just 16 points a game. Look at that third down percentage.
That's the big number that sticks out to me right there, 50%. That is why you scored 32 points, because you are staying on the football field and you are allowing you to continue to get on them drives, right? Third down is huge in every game, and that's why they won that game. 50% on third down. You're not going to lose too many games when you do that.
And 212 yards on the ground. We said Josh Jacobs had 144. I think Derek Carr had around, 40 that game?
Yeah, Derek Carr had it.
So he was moving outside of the pocket. If he does that, we know that good things happen. The question, though, JJ, is how are the Broncos going to adjust to Josh Jacobs? Because we saw what they did Week 10 against Derrick Henry. Against Derrick Henry and the Titans, they held King Henry to 53 yards on 19 carries. What they did was kind of an unconventional 5-man front, 3 linebackers, 3 defensive backs. Can't do that against the Raiders.
Yeah, they loaded the box up, right? You heard 3 defensive backs, right? So you add that extra backer in there to stop King Henry, right? You are going to put 8 in the box, and you are going to say, if we lose our one-on-one matchups out there to the Tennessee wide receivers, then that's what we do. But if you do that against the Raiders, we have a guy named Davante Adams, and he will break the record for catches if you do that and leave him one-on-one. And I understand you feel like Pat did a really good job on him last time they played, one-on-one coverage and all that, but you do not want to leave Davante Adams one-on-one all game long. If you do, he is going to find a way to get open and create some explosive plays. He's the baddest man in the National Football League at the wide receiver position. So good luck, and that is why, Raider Nation, we are a good offense, because we have Josh. We have DC. We have Davante, and you got to pick your poison. So you can't play the Raiders like that if you expect to win.
Can you imagine if they throw 3 defensive backs out there? You know Davante's going to go, I'm going to have a good day today.
Yeah, if they throw 3 defensive backs out there, right, Derek Carr and Davante should be walking up to Josh saying, we better not run it one time, and we're going to say, Josh Jacobs, your time is next week.
Well, here's Josh Jacobs. He will be out there, though. Here's Josh Jacobs on the matchup.
I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's their colors. I don't know what it is. No, I'm just playing. No, for real though. I did look at the game a little bit, but now they're a completely different defense. So it's like you can't really watch that game. You kind of got to watch the last few games that they've had, and obviously they just played good against one of the best running backs in this league, Derrick Henry. So man, it's gonna be interesting to see how they play against us and how we match up against them.
And so everybody is going to be looking at the matchup not only of how they defend the run, how they match up with Davante Adams, and you mentioned the name Patrick Surtain Jr. He will be out there. We're going to hear from Coach McDaniels coming up next about that matchup. How does the Broncos pass defense look next? The Silver and Black Show is brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. 1800, the best taste in tequila and official partner of the Raiders.
Herbert. Tip and picked off. Surtain up the sideline. Can he get there? Surtain to the end zone for the touchdown.
He doesn't get targeted much, you know what I mean? And I've always thought that was really more of a compliment, and that's the statistic that corners want. You know, when I look back at Revis and you look back at Stephon Gilmore and some of those guys, they were really never targeted or challenged a whole lot because they were covering so well. And you see a lot of that with Patrick. He's a really good player. He's a good tackler. He's physical, very sticky in coverage, you know, and I'm sure they're going to match him on Davante at some point.
I'm sure they are going to match him on Davante James, and it's going to be a heck of a matchup. It's our matchup of the week to watch as the Raiders go up against the Broncos at Mile High. And in week one, they both put on a show. 50% of the time Davante won, 50% of the time Patrick Surtain won. Look at those stats. Targeted 8 times, 101, 4 catches for Davante, that's 50%, 46 yards, no touchdowns, including one at the goal line that Patrick Surtain knocked down. And so in his second year, the young corner is standing out.
Man, he letting the world know that he's probably the best cornerback in the game right now. And he's really one of the only ones taking on the challenge. Like, you see him going everywhere with all these receivers. You see, he started it, right? He was the first one to say, Davante, look over there in the huddle, where Davante going? And he went with him everywhere.
Remember before that first game, you said there's no way they're going to put Patrick one-on-one with Davante, and they did. And he has some big plays.
Yeah, Pat had to be watching us and saying, oh, just watch, because I'm going in the slot with him. I'm going everywhere. And it was a battle, and it's going to be a battle. And right here, we're going to show you. Right here, this is what I love, right? Josh McDaniels tightening Davante split down, right? You tighten and split down inside the numbers. What that does is it gives him all that space up top to work, and it puts Pat in a very bad spot because he has to cover a lot of ground. Beautiful back shoulder ball, completion, first down, flex on him. Raider Nation off to a good start. Again, again, right here, inside the numbers, tight split. This should have been a touchdown. If Derek Carr places this ball inside of Davante, it is another touchdown. Really good job by Pat right here breaking this ball up. But as you can see, tight split, a lot of options to go. Ball inside, that's a touchdown, right? So we're going to blame that one on DC. He should have had 5 catches. But then this is when it gets real, Amber, right here. Outside the numbers, this is excellent, right? Not too many people can put hands on Davante. 2-hand jam on Davante, slant, redirect, right? Bat the ball down. This is what you call right here, even though DA is my guard, that's D'd up, right? That's what you call D'd up. And then again, right? Outside the numbers, which I don't like, right? 2-way go. Tay come off the ball. Hey, this is teaching tape right here by the young fella. Speed turn, bat the ball down, right? On to the next. Y'all going back to the huddle, DA, because I'm going to be here all day following you, right? But this here, hey, off coverage. Tay try to threaten him on the outside a little bit. Bat that ball down. These two dudes is battling right here. Then again, I really like this one right here. Outside the numbers, right? Good release by Tay. Derek Carr, if you're going to throw this back shoulder ball, you got to put some air on it, right? If you just throw it on the line, Davante's thinking about winning over the top right now. If you throw it this fast, he's not going to react to it. But 2 college teammates, you know what they do? They say, hey, man, I'm throwing it the same way. Release the same way. I'm going to throw it the same way. Same ball, same route, completion, right? That's why you get in the huddle and you start talking to each other and you say, hey, he's playing over the top. Hey, I'm going to do the same release. Hey, Tay, the ball coming out quick, completion. This is what I'm talking about right here. But these 2 guys right here battling all game long. Get your popcorn ready like T.O. say, because it's going to be a good one. This is the one that I really like. Inside the numbers again, right? Sitting down in the hole, finding the grass. But what I like best about it, you put Pat in a very bad spot because Davante can go in.
Right there.
He could go up. He could come out, and he could stop the way he just did, right? So that's why you see Pat kind of sitting back there like, what he going to do? It's too late, ball in hands. Tighten the split down, force Pat to work and have to guard a lot of grass.
Well, you can see the two gained a lot of respect for each other in those matchups. So somebody else is going to have to step up. It's not as if you can go to Devontae Adams the whole game. We know that there's no Darren Waller. We know that there's no Hunter Renfrow. And so Foster Moreau has been a very viable option as a backup tight end coming in. Last week against the Colts, 4 targets, 3 receptions, so he catches the ball when it's thrown to him, except for that one in the end zone that he wants to have back. That would have been the game winner. He did get in the end zone, though, 43 yards. But he's a big target. He is a big tight end, and that's always been part of Derek Carr's game.
And you could tell that him and DC are really getting some chemistry together, right? Because if it was me and I was Derek Carr, there's nobody else that football is going to on that last drive other than Devontae Adams. But he showed you that I trust him. Right? And he gave him the opportunity to make it on that goal line, B-line coming in there, and he gave him opportunity. Obviously, he didn't catch it, but he's been a player. Derek Carr trusts him. He's given him more and more opportunities as this season goes on. I can see him having a big day, too, finding some opportunities out there.
So the Broncos defense, no matter how good it has been, it is going to look a little bit different than the first time around. Some key players will be missing in action for this game with the reports coming out. We know that Bradley Chubb is with the Dolphins. He's no longer there. Javonte Williams is down for the season. K'Wan Williams, this is new this week. He had to have knee surgery, so he's not going to be out there. He's the nickel.
Yeah.
So that is big for the Raiders to not have him there. And then Jerry Jeudy has been ruled out. Jerry Jeudy will not be there as far as offensively. So that is another break for the Raiders defense.
And this offense is already struggling. No Jerry Jeudy in there. It's going to be problems. But they do have this fella.
He's coming back, Justin Simmons.
Justin Simmons is an absolute baller. There is nothing that he cannot do. They blitz him. They put him man-on-man on tight ends, man-on-man on slot receivers. Obviously, he plays really well in the zone. He is a ball hawk. He is a baller. They paid him a lot of money for a reason. To have the quarterback of your defense back there, that is why they are still playing at a high level, him.
And he doesn't like the Raiders. Something he made very clear.
We don't like you neither, man.
Something he made very clear to the media. Listen in.
Me personally, I don't like the Raiders anyway. That's just part of me being here this is year 7 now, and playing against those games and playing in those games and playing against those guys. But, so I don't really like them anyway. But on top of that, it sucks. I didn't play, that game either. They've obviously had success, in prior. And so, this one's going to be important for us to go down and especially at our home field and kind of, set the tone.
That's okay. I don't think the Raiders have any love lost there either way. And he's talking a little smack coming back, and so we'll see.
I do this right here? He almost got me buckling up, man. We don't like you.
You don't want JJ coming after you. Justin, you don't want JJ coming after you. Coming up next on the Silver and Black Show, Amir Abdullah has been a key role player for the Raiders, but his parents a key role player in American history. That's next. I'm here with Raiders running back and return specialist, Amir Abdullah, and I wish we could do 20 minutes of this interview because I had so much fun researching you and your family's story. I'm going to try to give our viewers a little synopsis here. Grew up outside of Birmingham. Your parents, Aisha and Kareem, grew up in the 60s, right in the middle of the Birmingham uprisings to fight for racial equality in the South. Your mother's friend, Denise McNair, was one of the 4 innocent African-American children that were killed in the 16th Street Baptist Church bombings. I'm not giving this to be sad. I'm giving this as background because I want people to understand that all of that probably shaped your parents so much.
Definitely.
And drove them in a certain direction. And that, in turn, makes us understand you. How do you think those experiences shaped them?
I would definitely say it shaped them to be people of integrity, first and foremost. Who you are sometimes is who you are all the time, is what my dad used to always tell me. And
I love that.
A lot of the experiences that my father went through, my mom, growing up in Birmingham, she experienced a lot of inequality, obviously, racism. And if you allow anyone to divide you, in a heightened situation or a circumstance that isn't necessarily in your favor, then who are you really? And I think that really speaks volumes to who my family is.
Growing up in a Muslim family, then being the youngest of 9 children, which is a separate, unique experience, What values would you say came of both experiences that you still bring with you today and bring with you into your job?
Not to judge a book by its cover. Growing up in Birmingham, like you said, a lot of people saw the name before I showed up a lot of places, and then they would see a black guy show up. So they were confused on a lot of different fronts, but they had a lot of assumptions of what I believed or what I stood for. And I spent so much time trying to, prove myself that, no, this is what I believe, this is what I truly am. It really taught me a lesson of I can never be someone who judges a book by its cover. I have to let people demonstrate who they are, and then I make my judgment. And I think that is something that is really important to me. Is you go into a locker room and everyone's so different. Some people are from Utah, some people are from Alabama, some people are from the big city of New York, and they all bring different characteristics and different values to the plate. And if you just have some pre-assumed notion of who this person is when they come to the locker room, it's gonna be tough to galvanize and really build a team. So really allowing those walls to fall down and let people prove who they are instead of assuming who they are is really important to me.
Let's move to your college days. Let's talk a little bit of football. 2011, Nebraska played Fresno State.
Kickoff into the end zone will be brought out by Abdullah. Abdullah, a little bit of shake and bake. With room to run, what kind of speed do you have, young guy? Down the right sideline. He's got a chance. Did he make it? Yes! Touchdown, Nebraska!
Do you ever remind Derek Carr and say, hey, I just want you to remember those 228 return yards I put up on your Bulldog? Do you ever just kind of...
It's funny, the first day we get here in the spring, him and Devontae come up to me. They're looking at me, and I'm like, why are they staring at me like that? He was like, you remember 2011 against Fresno State? I was like, yeah. He was like, apparently I broke their kicker's hip or something like that.
I didn't see that part.
So for those of you guys who don't know, in that game, we were down by 4 points to Fresno State, and I had a go-ahead kickoff return actually for a touchdown where I made the kicker miss, and he fell, and apparently—
You juked him so hard he broke a hip?
That's what Derek Carr told me. He said
we're gonna have to get Derek's side.
Got to get Derek's side. They said he dislocated his hip, and they never let me live it down. They always bring up that story every time that we're around a new group of people we don't know. So.
That's so much fun.
Funny.
Your first year with the Raiders, you do everything. Last week against the Colts, 86 return yards, out of the backfield catching 4 for 4, 33 yards catching, including that big first down on 3rd and 2, and then 2 plays later, the Raiders took the lead. Punt coverage, you down the ball at the 5-yard line, which was an amazing play. You have 2 special teams tackles. Is there anything you don't do?
I just work here. I just work here. That's probably my best saying this year is, hey man, I just work here. I'm really grateful for my teammates because they support everything that I do. Sometimes when you're watching on the TV copies, the special teams doesn't always get the most notoriety. People don't really watch those plays, but if you're at the game, you will realize the special teams one-play series of the kickoff return, punt returns, they change the momentum every single time. If you can get a big return, if you can make a big tackle, you can down the ball within the 5-yard line, that changes the momentum of the crowd, it changes the momentum on the sideline, and it's huge for team morale. And I take pride in that because someone's got to do it. Someone's got to, put that hard hat on and say, hey, I'm willing to do the dirty work to make sure my team takes the field and feels confident when they do so. So I get up for those plays because not only does it allow me to set the tone for myself, and then you give the defense great field position to go out and defend the opposing offense. So special teams I think that's where it starts in any football game, honestly. And then when it comes to offensively, I'm just doing the plays that are called. Coach McDaniels puts us in excellent opportunities to win when we have our matchups, and I'm expected to do that.
Have fun in Denver, and hopefully you guys come back with a win. We'd love to see it.
Yes, we need it. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Amir.
Yep.
The Silver and Black Show has been brought to you by Cox, proud partner of the Las Vegas Raiders. Allegiant, the official airline of the Las Vegas Raiders. Low fares, non-stop flights. Book now only at Allegiant.com. Chevron with Techron gives you unbeatable cleaning and mileage. Chevron, together ahead. Raiders players have been holding themselves accountable to the fan base, to Raider Nation, one of the best fan bases in all the NFL. And Max Crosby led the charge after the loss last week against the Colts. Here's what he tweeted out to the fan base. He said, y'all don't deserve this.
No.
Raider Nation, I love y'all. And you like to see that. You like to see the emotion from Derek Carr after the game.
That's big time. And especially coming from your leader, right? Because it's not no Raider fan. I don't care if you watch one Raiders game in your whole life. If you watch this guy play, right, he's selling out every single time, right? So for him to tweet this out right here, this is big time. And
That's
I say
leadership.
and I say it all the time, right? I mean, we work extremely hard during the week to go out there and put a good product on the field. And yes, sometimes it don't turn out the way you want to turn out. But you know, the fan base, Raider Nation, how passionate they are. Hey, we thinking about you and we know, and we're going to get this thing right.
Well, Max Crosby might have an opportunity to have a big game because there's a lot of young guys starting on that Broncos offensive line, so it could be a favorable matchup. But hey, Pro Bowl coming up. This is your chance. Raider Nation, go out and vote for your favorite Raiders. There's no doubt. I think there's 3 guys that need to make the Pro Bowl for the Raiders. Are we in agreement?
Yeah, we in
These
agreement.
3 right here.
Bang, bang,
Davante
bang.
Adams, Max Crosby, Josh Jacobs. Go online, go to NFL.com, go to Raiders.com. You can cast your vote as fans, but Max deserves to be there.
Max is a lock. We going. It don't even matter. Even if he get 1 vote, he going. Davante Adams, you got to take into account that when you get double teamed 90% of the time and you still put up numbers, you got to put Davante Adams in there. And then Josh Jacobs, man, just leave the man alone. The man is on a whole another level this year. Can't be tackled by one guy. He a problem. All 3 of them in.
And look, I get it, Tyreek Hill and Stephon Diggs. You could say a lot of good AFC receivers. Right now, though, Davante Adams is leading the league in receiving touchdowns. He has 8 receiving touchdowns. He's only tied with Travis Kelce, a tight end.
Yeah.
He is Travis Kelce, though.
I know a little bit about leading the league in touchdowns. You lead the league in touchdowns, you should go. I didn't, but you should go.
I was going to say, what do you know about leading the league in touchdowns? You're making up stats from your past. All right, that'll do it for us on the Silver and Black Show. Look forward to seeing you guys out there. Travel to Denver, Raider Nation.
That's it, we done?
Get out there. Go to Mile High. We're done, For James Jones, I'm Amir Theoharis, 105 local time start. Get behind the Raiders. They're going to get back in the win column. We'll see you here on Raiders Game Day after the game.